Welcome to the Sandler Training Hour. You're with your hosts, Jim and Jason Stevens. And Jim, this week I thought we'd talk a little bit about the reality of I need help. Because when you hear it, it's really easy to default into, well, here's what help I can offer.
Yeah.
I know this week in training we had two, or last week in training we had two examples pop up. One was inbound lead shows up, happy ears start going off. It's all in our wheelhouse. It's the right spot. It's the right business. It's a good opportunity to show them everything we've got. But doing that, giving someone the information that allows them to judge you without getting the information that allows you to qualify them ultimately puts you in a lose-lose situation. So bring us into this conversation, Jim. What happens when we're trying to, what's the default when you hear someone needs help?
Yeah. If you're a problem solver, and I've been in sales or in sales training for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. And most everyone I know who is in a business development role are good problem solvers. And when we hear a problem, we have a Pavlovian response to fix it. I
Yeah.
mean, okay, you got a problem, here's what you should do. The problem is most people won't accept a fix that they think is half baked.
Mm.
And if they haven't had the opportunity to share with you everything they know or everything they think you should know, any solution you offer is going to be perceived to them as, all right, that's a good idea, but they are not likely to take action on it. And then a further deeper risk that most of us don't take into account is by offering the solution, we foster learned helplessness. And what happens is you have a parade of people coming to you to solve their problems because they've determined, hey, it's easier to get Jason to solve my problem than for me to solve it. He always has the answer. And by the way, when he gives me the answer, I'm not to blame. If it doesn't work, I can just say, hey, I did what you said.
Yeah.
And so there's just too many traps that we can fall into by jumping in prematurely to problem solving.
And really, if you're in sales and you're jumping to problem solving, you're going to get a lot of referrals, but you're getting referrals because you're doing unpaid consulting.
Unpaid consulting
You're
is,
throwing it out there. And really, when you allow someone to judge you because you've given them all the context on it, but you haven't guided them towards where they're pushing, then you've lost the ability and collateral to get feedback on what they're actually trying to solve. And the reason that's a problem is because the most important thing to do at the initial part of someone saying, "Hey, I have a problem," is measuring their level of commitment.
yeah, yeah. And if they're not committed to solving the problem, you've just inserted yourself into a communication feedback loop that you're going to resent being in. And,
Yeah,
and you'll be asking the question, you'll be thinking, why does this keep coming back to me? Well, you engineered it to come back to you.
yeah. And two Sandler rules of thumb that pop up here is one, if knowledge was enough, we'd all be wealthy and healthy.
Right.
And then two, though it's slipping off the top of my mind, it's the does that rule? It'll come back to me. But generally thinking, when we go into this problem-solving mode where we're defaulting into a position where we think we can throw everything out there, fix someone, we just lose sight of, here's the second rule. Some companies and people will live with surface level problems, sometimes forever.
Yeah.
The core being we all have something going on that's frustrating. Like, Jim, do you have any frustrations top of mind that came out this morning?
Of course I do. I think everybody does. You look at timing or sequence, and I think another rule that really applies here is recognizing the problem the person brings you is never the real problem.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that
like
they're bringing you what they perceive to be the problem, but 9 times out of 10, it's the surface indicator. The real
yeah.
problem is something deeper. And what they're really saying is, I'm stuck. Help me think through this so that I'm working on the right end of the problem.
Yeah. And that's where it's so important to gauge their commitment to do anything because having a problem is not the same as being willing to solve for the problem or willing to invest the time, money, and energy into investing toward a solution.
Yeah.
It's so pivotal. And we all know this easily when we think about the last time that we heard a family member bring up an issue or we heard a friend bring up an issue and how fast our minds default into that problem solving of, oh, here's what you should do. Oh, if I was in your shoes, you should do this. I would do that. And it's such a quick default and it just gets in the way of letting them process toward committing to do something.
Yeah.
And that leads us into the territory of how many people do you have in your pocketbook who you know if they're reaching out to you, it's to complain about something they're not willing to change.
Yeah. 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 And if this conversation is resonating with you, the bad news is the underlying problem is your ego.
Yeah,
You're compelled to answer questions because you like the ego stroke of being the problem solver, being in the thick of things, making sure that you're needed and appreciated for what you do, often originating from a feeling of insecurity. So
yeah,
the real issue, I think, in this case, at least for me, as a chronic fixer, is to recognize that it's not my responsibility to solve problems. It's
yeah.
my responsibility to facilitate discovery.
And I
And
love that
then
word.
then come up with a mutual agreement about next steps.
Yeah. So I stress the importance of using language that actually aligns with what you're trying to accomplish. And discovery is a great example of that. If you frame your sales calls as sales calls, you go in thinking through the lens of influence, of persuasion, of pushing, of guiding, of directions. Whereas discovery is really about, is this a good fit? Are we in the right spot? Is this the right conversation you should be having to solve this issue?
Yeah.
And it goes to a fundamental principle that we buy into, which is mindset has to drive behavior. You have to believe in what you're doing, and you can learn to believe by doing it a lot. But if you never question belief, then you're autopiloting toward what you think the right thing to do is. And the risk there is if you fail 4 times in a row, it's really easy to start to second guess yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
with discovery, don't get trapped second into playing that game where it's optional, where you think you're supposed to be everyone's best friend. As a
true.
seller, it's not going to do you any favors to be liked.
If you parse out the mechanics here, it's facilitating discovery that empowers ownership
Yeah.
on their behalf. Otherwise, I'm going to end up owning it because I'm the one who's driving it. Not a good, not the ideal outcome that we want. We want empowerment and we want growth. I've spent half of my life being a problem solver, and I realize all of the value that I lost because of that. Far more effective to facilitate discovery, be a coach, be a counselor, and through that, people will discover and own the outcome instead of me saying, do this, and then be upset because they don't do it or they do it different. And it's like, really? Why'd you even ask?
Yeah. Yeah, true magic is in equipping someone else, not
Yeah.
necessarily giving them a roadmap or an instruction manual toward
Yeah.
fixing their issue.
Yeah. It's great. Well said.
And to Jim's earlier point, this is an ego issue. If you are a fixer, if you're a problem solver, you're getting your needs met. And figure out what your needs are that you're getting met because the ROI on discovery far exceeds, especially when it comes to your role as a seller, the ROI on giving people what could fix that problem, oftentimes for free.
Yeah.
But that's us with Sandler Training. If you have any questions about who we are and what we do, you found your way here. Scroll down, and if you want to take 15 seconds, leave us a review. It'll help something, I'm sure of it. But be well. Good selling and good luck out there.